Hey y'all, my name is Jenna and this is Staying Home with Autism. I'm a stay-at-home mom with two boys, ages 5 and 3, and my 3-year-old was diagnosed with autism almost a year and a half ago, just after he turned 2. So that's out of the way. I'm trying to remember to say that first because in like half my videos I've forgotten, or I remember like at the end that I'm supposed to tell you who I am and why I'm doing this. Anyway, so I'm kind of all over the place today. If you hear Fisher, we just got home from school about 20 minutes ago and he is very happily doing puzzles and watching a show on the phone. So anyway, so I was saying my emotions are kind of all over the place today. There's just so much happening right now, and there's so many things that I've been wanting to talk about, and it's like I don't even know where to start. And I've kind of been going about this like just videotaping things that we're doing in our everyday life and how our regular day is going, and then once things come up, you know, during the whatever particular day it is, I try to address it or talk about it. But then there's things that will come up during the day that are like, he's climbing up in front of me right now, that are like whole other topics, and they just keep coming up, and so I just keep thinking of things that I want to talk about. Fisher, look. Hi. Hi. I keep thinking of new things that I want to talk about, and then I just haven't gotten to them all yet. But there's a lot happening right now, so there's a lot I want to talk about. To start, my day has been pretty hectic and non-productive, but not for the sake of trying. So Lucas, my 5-year-old, has been complaining off and on for about a month about his stomach hurting. And I don't know why. You know, of course, at that age, it's hard for them to express what they're feeling. So when I try to ask him, you know, does it feel like you need to get sick? Does it feel like a sharp pain, like a pinch? Does it feel like you're hungry? And he can't really explain it. Most of the time, he'll just tell me, no, it doesn't feel like anything. It just hurts. He hasn't been physically getting sick, but he's just been complaining about it. Mostly in the morning and at night, most days recently. So, I don't know. Hey. Your head is in the way. Oh. So I don't know what's happening. I've asked him if he's worried about anything. Trying to find out if maybe it's like a stress thing for some reason, and he says no. So I don't know what's going on. So I finally decided I was going to take him in to talk to our pediatrician about it today. Our pediatrician is amazing. We have been with him ever since Lucas was born, and he has handled everything with Fisher and our autism journey from the very beginning amazingly. We are very lucky to have him. So I really wanted Lucas to see him specifically. So we trust him, and you know, he seems to know what he's doing. But the problem is the practice that he works for has different locations, and he's only at our location 1 day a week, which was today. So as soon as I dropped Fisher off at school this morning, I took Lucas in to see his doctor to try to find out what's going on with his stomach, and they were slammed today, y'all. Packed. And normally, if I take them in just for a walk-in sick visit, we've never had to wait very long. But if it's just like they're sick, like they have a stomach bug, or, you know, really stuffy or a fever, whatever, you know, I'll just see whoever's first available. But because this is not like Lucas is sick and contagious with something, it's been an ongoing issue. I really wanted to see our pediatrician, but they said he was just packed. His scheduled appointments were packed this morning, and which, you know, is not his fault. There's nothing to do about that. And my mom pointed out it could be because yesterday was a holiday, so he's even busier this week. So anyway, long story short, Lucas and I waited as long as we could for, I think, just over an hour and a half, probably an hour and 45 minutes we waited. And then I had to leave because Fisher only goes to school for about 2 hours and 20 minutes. And so I couldn't wait anymore, or I was going to be late to pick Fisher up from school. So we sat in the doctor's office for no reason for an hour and 45 minutes this morning. Lucas missed his whole morning of school for no reason. But it is what it is. And now he's blaming me because afterwards we left and we were walking into school and he said, "Mom, you made me miss my whole morning of school for no reason." So anyway, dropped him off, went back to Fisher's school, got there just in time. Got there just in time to pick him up. And then we had to run into the bank and then back out to our house. And so I have been out just driving back and forth up and down the same road since 8 o'clock this morning. And it is now 12:46. So anyway, so that's been our morning. So I think what I want to talk about today, because I said there's been so much going on, there's so many different things that I want to address and talk about. I'm going to talk about all of the recent changes that we have seen in Fisher in the last couple months and what that means. I really haven't even gotten to the point of, I did an introductory video talking about me and just introducing the boys and why I was making this page and, you know, who I was hoping to reach. But I haven't even gotten to the point of actually explaining from the very beginning of our story how everything came about with Fisher and him getting his diagnosis and all those things, which I do plan on getting to. So briefly, I will just kind of let you know that he was, like I said, diagnosed just after he turned 2. We had first brought up our concerns to our pediatrician when he was the week before his 15-month regular checkup appointment. And then we immediately got started in early intervention, and it took us 5 months to get in to see the developmental specialist for the first time, but he didn't get diagnosed until his second visit with the developmental specialist, which was 6 months after his initial visit. So originally, one of the flags that we had for Fisher is he was nonverbal. He started baby babbling when he was around 8 months old. And then over that summer afterwards, from about 10 to 12 months, that really kind of tapered off, which when you're talking about the effects of autism and they have a skill and then they start to lose it, we refer to it as regressing. So he regressed in the area of speech. The baby babbling was stopping. We used to hear the ma, 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 ba, 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 which we assumed was mama and bottle. And then after he turned a year old, we kind of didn't hear that anymore. So no new sounds. And, he should have at that point had a handful of words that he was using intentionally. And he should have been waving and starting to point and clap, things of that nature, which he wasn't doing. And those were skills that he never started. So it wasn't like the babbling where he started doing it when he was supposed to and then regressed and we stopped seeing it happen. Those things never came from the beginning when they were supposed to. And so the big change is now, last spring, he started clapping, and he would do it back and forth. I would say, yay, after we sang a song or something, or he did something good, and I would clap, and he would clap back. And then over the summer, that kind of regressed. He would do it randomly sometimes, but I couldn't get him to do that back and forth. Like if I initiated it, he wasn't doing it back. But then he started back at school this fall and he picked the clapping back up again, which I assume was just because he was back, going to school a few days a week and with other kids and they were all clapping, and it was just more of a consistent thing and seeing other people do it. So I assume that's why he started to pick that up again. And then in the fall, he also started giving high fives with me, which he had never done before. And he will now do it with pretty much anybody that tries to give him a high five. He will do it back now. So those were changes that we started seeing the first half of fall. And then I know I've mentioned before that also in the fall, he started having obsessive behaviors with puzzles, which really set him back at school. Before that, he was starting to do well in school. He was starting to engage a little bit more in activities, whereas, the first, he started school last January, so that first session of school, which for him was the second half of the year last year, he was kind of doing his own thing. Like he would maybe look at what another kid was doing for a second here and there, but he wasn't joining in story time. He wasn't trying to make sounds when the kids, when they were all singing, and just not engaging fully like you would expect a typical 3-year-old to do. And I should also mention that he's in an inclusion program. So him and one other child are the IEP children this year. And the other children are role model children. So they are typically developing. And so anyway, I'm trying to stay on track and not be confusing. But there's just so much going on in my head, y'all, right now. So he was starting to engage more. He was doing well. He was spending a little bit more time on activities. And then when the obsessive behaviors with puzzles started in the fall, that all kind of started to go away. And we were really down about it because he had been doing so well. And it was like he just went all the way back to the beginning almost, because he was so concerned about puzzles at school that was the only thing he wanted to do. And then if you took it away from him, it was a huge meltdown, and he would spend time all over the room trying to find the puzzles, and you couldn't get him to focus on anything else or engage in anything else. And then Thanksgiving break happened and he stopped napping, which Fisher has always been a great sleeper. Autism can be hard on sleep. That's another one of the flags is kids having a lot of trouble sleeping. They just can't get their brains to settle. And Fisher had never had that problem. He would always lay right down for naps, and he would nap for 3.5 hours. He would sleep 12 hours through the night and had no problem laying down, going to bed at night. And if he did miss his nap during the day for whatever reason, you could lay him down at 6:30 and he would go straight to sleep and sleep straight through till 7:30 the next morning. But Thanksgiving happened and all of a sudden he stopped napping. And I thought, well, maybe he's having a sleep regression because he had gone through those before in the past at like the normal typical ages where he would stop napping for like a week or two, or he couldn't get settled at night and he was going to sleep later, whatever. So I didn't think much of it. But that ended up going on for about a month and a half straight. So I thought, well, he's just done napping. My 5-year-old stopped napping when he was 3.5. Fisher is almost 3.5 now. So I thought, well, he just doesn't need to nap anymore. But also, I did get a little concerned though, because when he stopped napping, he also was not going to sleep early at night, which was abnormal for him if he didn't have a nap. I would try to put him in the bed at 7:30, 8 o'clock, and he would play. You could hear him playing in his room, banging around, babbling, until 10, 10:30, some nights 11 o'clock at night. So I thought, well, maybe he's starting to have sleep issues, related to the autism. And so that was a change. And then all of a sudden, also after Thanksgiving break, he started waving goodbye. And then that turned into him saying bye for the first time ever while he was waving. He also started saying go consistently, which we had heard in the past, like, it would sound like go, but that was something they started with early intervention, and I think I heard him say it maybe 2 times ever during the time he was in early intervention, which was for a year. And then sometimes he might say it randomly. He would say it appropriately at an appropriate time, but it was just here and there. And then after Thanksgiving break, he started saying it consistently. Anytime he wanted to leave, if he was ready to leave somewhere, he would either start saying bye or he would say go, like let's go. When he gets in the swing outside or the swing in his room, we would, pull him up and say ready, set, and he'll say go every time now. So he's officially not completely nonverbal anymore. He now has 2 words, which we are so excited about. It makes us feel hopeful for his future. And then ever since he got back to school after Christmas break, his teacher has said that he's just really excelling. He's engaging. He's spending a couple minutes on several activities. He's watching what the other kids are doing and what she's doing on activities, and he's trying to replicate it and do it himself. He's not fussing at all during any of his transitions. It used to be, if he had to leave the classroom to go to a speech session or an OT session, he would get upset, didn't want to leave the classroom. If he was doing an activity that he liked in the classroom and had to leave that to go do another activity, he would get upset. He just struggled with those transitions, which is normal in the autism world. And she said he's had no problem. He's not fussing. He's transitioning to library, which is new because he just started going to school on library day. It was an extra day we just added a few weeks ago. And so I picked him up today. We talked, and she said, I don't know what has happened. She asked me again. She was like, he's not doing any new therapies right now. And I said, no. I said, he's coming here 4 days a week, and he's doing feeding therapy, which he just started right before Christmas. And that's it. And nothing else has changed. We're not doing anything different than what we've been doing. And she said, me and the speech therapist and the OT that he works with at school, she said, we're all just kind of scratching our heads, because she was like, he's just had this huge change. He's transitioning. He's got these words now. He started pointing to request things around Thanksgiving, which is huge for early communication that he had never done before. And she was like, we don't know. But we're so happy for him. She was like, this is a great change, but it was like overnight, like something happened, and I don't know. So I have read in all of my research about autism in the past, I've seen, not looked specifically for this, but have just seen things pop up that talk about these outbursts, or not outbursts, but short bursts of awakening. Basically like your brain waking up, and all of a sudden they're communicating better and they're engaging better. And so I don't know if that's what's happening right now. And I told her that today. I said, I've read about these, bursts of awakenings, and maybe that's what's happening. I don't know, because he is still mostly nonverbal, and even if he wasn't nonverbal, he's barely 3.5. He's just getting ready to turn 3.5. So he wouldn't be able to explain it much better than I can, I wouldn't imagine, at this point. It's just one of those mysteries that we don't know now, but hopefully one day we will. And I just hope that he keeps progressing. Regression is always a fear with autism, that they'll start, they'll learn new things and they'll gain new skills, and then something will happen and they'll lose it again. So I don't know what it is. Like she said, we're all scratching our heads like, what has happened and where is this coming from? So but it's very exciting. Yeah, so I don't know. So that's what I wanted to talk about today, just because, like I said, my brain is kind of all over the place right now. I'm really excited, but I'm anxious because, like I said, there's always a fear of regression. Is he going to keep going on this track? Is something going to happen where he starts taking steps back again? Is he going to keep progressing at this pace that he's progressing at right now? Or are we going to kind of plateau and be stuck in the same spot for 6 months to a year? I don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Just a mystery of autism and a mystery of the brain. And, yeah, I don't know. So, we'll just keep your fingers crossed. We're keeping our fingers crossed. And we're saying our prayers and just hoping that he continues to do well and gain new skills and continues to engage more with us and other children and his peers, his teachers, his therapists. Yeah, and that's it. So now I've been rambling for 24 minutes, but that's just because my brain is a wreck right now. And my emotions, I have butterflies in my stomach. All over the place. All over the place. So anyway, so that's it for today. That was the main thing I wanted to get out off my chest and talk about. That's the big thing that's happening right now. And then, of course, there's, all these little subcategories of things that are happening at the same time, which I will get to in other videos. So anyway, thank you for listening to me ramble for forever. If you have a child with autism and you are just starting your journey and you are new and you are really feeling like down about it or scared, or which I totally get. I mean, I was there too. I mean, somebody gives you an autism diagnosis and, when it first happens, when they're this little, you don't know what that means for the future. Because it's different in everybody. Autism does not show up exactly the same in every person that has it. It's different for everybody. So all I can say is not to get too down. And it's okay to be hopeful. You all right? Fisher just tripped, but he's fine. It's okay to be hopeful for their future. It's okay to be worried for their future. It's okay to feel sad. There's a lot of feelings with it. But don't think that it's when you first get that autism diagnosis that it's the end of the world. And because it's not. Things happen. You just have to, take it day by day. Do everything you can do to help them. And just see how it goes. Things can change. You never know. I'm not saying that one day they're going to wake up and not have autism anymore or not have any struggles anymore, because that's certainly not the case, and it's not the case for anybody. Everybody has struggles in their everyday life, whether you have autism or a disability or not. So just try not to get too down or stressed about it. I always try to tell myself with anything, don't stress until you have a reason to be really stressed. So yeah, that's it. And now I'm gonna go call insurance people, because we've been having a struggle for a year and a half over this insurance and trying to get him ABA therapy and all this stuff. And so now I have a bunch of phone calls of that nature to make. Fun. So anyway, I hope everybody else is having a great day. The rest of my day shouldn't be as hectic as it was this morning. And we'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye.